This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the live stream will start very soon. So please stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and all the videos in your usual way. It is all very much appreciated. Right, we're going to get straight down to business today with another novice hurdler to follow possibly over the coming months. Before we do that though, it would be remiss of me to tell you really, not to tell you really, that if anybody wants any more national hunt horses that maybe are not in novice company this year, maybe horses that have been racing for a few years in the national hunt sphere, then they should really check Reprieve Media CIC Racing 2020.ml. If they go to the horses in focus section and click there, they will see that there are in fact plenty of articles containing national hunt horses. It's just a matter of reading through them and finding them. Right, the horse we're going to focus on today is trained by Archie Watson, Throne Hall. It's an interesting horse. I think I'm going to put a tale of caution in here though, because I did follow one of his well-bred ones last year called Staghorn. And I think it's worth having a look at this horse before we start Staghorn, because if you look, they are both quite similar profiles. Staghorn was quite a well-bred horse himself, you know. He also won his first 2 novice hurdles, including a grade 2, and then let us down at both Cheltenham and Aintree when the races got properly ready to go. I mean, you could argue really that this horse, Staghorn, was less exposed on the flat than this horse at Throne Hall, who raced 17 times on the flat. Luckily, I managed to miss all then, because he was an average horse of 105, just below pattern level really. The only time he did try pattern level was unfortunately at Chester, when he was beaten 8 of 9. Not the place to try a horse at pattern level, that. No surprise to me, it fell short. It never reached that level again. Before winning 2 novice hurdles in succession in its first 2 novice hurdle races, you see. So that's where the similarities to Staghorn come, the connections and the way the horse has campaigned, quite exposed on the flat over to the hurdles. This horse only won 2 of his 17 flat starts, but he was in the first 3 another 9 times. So 12 out of his 17 starts, the horse was in the first 3. We're going to take a look on the pedigree now, because we'll see it's by Kingman, and the dam of it is a Galileo sire dam called Appearance. And it was when we started to look at Appearance that we realised that we'd had a go on this line before. And it's a fine advert really for the way Reprieve Media CIC Racing really is an essential site for people, because they'll see Apparate on this site. Apparate was by Dubawi out of Appearance and trained by Roger Varian to win 3 of 11 starts. You have to class the horse as a failure because it never raced in pattern level at all. But if people look, it did win a £62,000 handicap at 8 to 1, and then a £23,000 handicap at 5 to 1. So despite never racing in a pattern company, you could see that the horse had the definite potential, you know, we were well in front with the horse, even though it never raced in a race we wanted it to race. It was then deemed as being sold to Jamie Osborne in May 2022, and it just hasn't raced since then. There's no sign of it racing. But this is a half brother to that. If people look at Appearance, they will see that the 102 rated Apparate is finally finished £3 lower on the flat than this horse Throne Hall. The reason we were following Apparate really was because of the third dam of the horse. The third dam of the horse is no more than a pogey. You know, if people look at the form of a pogey, In France, you will see that she did win the Group 3 Prix de Royaumont in 1993. And she is also a prolific producer of dams that have proven to be quite useful for us, as well as the 149 rated over on the jumps. Summit meeting, which indicates a future over the jumps for this line, I think, which is why we're willing to chance it. You'll see, though, it's also related to the sire, Apsis. That sire's the odd National Hunt jumps winner, mainly in France. Although I did see one last week that won in Ireland. Apsis himself, we can take a quick look at later on the other site. In fact, we'll do it now. Apsis, there's other stallions you see that we are going to be tying into nicely as well. You'll see that Apsis, I think it sires in France, should be quite near the top of this list, being run in alphabetical order. It's not there, so is it in Ireland now? No, it isn't. So I don't know where it's standing, but I do know it is a stallion, or it was. Maybe it's gone elsewhere, because if we can find its stallion history at the side a few. Yeah, you look at the form of it. You see, it sired the best. It sired a couple of 140 plus horses over the jumps, which is the sort of level I tend to start looking at them as to prove they could be quite decent. The form of the horse, you see it won the Group 3, the Prix de Chemin de Fer du Nord in Group 3 level at Chantilly, and it also won a listed race in 2006 as well. Yeah, so there's one stallion that we've found we're quite closely related to. You will also see, if we look at the apogee again, you'll see a dam called Dance Routine. You'll see that Dance Routine also was a Group 2 winner of the Prix de Royaumont in 2002. It was also 8th behind Pearly Shells, which is the dam of along the family of Pearls Galore, another line we are following. Beaten by Pearly Shells twice actually, and it was also behind Bright Sky in the French Oaks of 2002. So she was a classic performer herself, and if people look at the progeny of her, they'll see Flintshire, a very superb horse and an up-and-coming young stallion, Flintshire, dam of Dance Routine. Also they will see a dam out of apogee called Concentric. This one was placed in the Group 3 Prix de Flore of 2007, and it also won a listed race in the same year of 2007, the Prix Charles Lafitte. But it is when people see the Concentric is in fact the dam of superstar mare Enable, as well as Derab, who's shown some interesting form as a 3-year-old that wasn't seen at all last year, and also is the dam of Contribution, who is the dam of this year's French classic winner, classic placed horse Agave, who we also followed last year in a Classic Watch 2020. So you'll see that we've got some interesting horses here as well. The third dam, Bourbon Girl. This is where the racing post kind of dries up a bit. There is no race record for Bourbon Girl. So what we'll do on this horse, we'll see that is line 4M in the historic line. We'll just make sure we wouldn't be surprised the Bourbon Girl won 4 classics. Knowing the racing post, it doesn't really like to show us. There you go, you see, a perfectly reasonable horse. I do amaze myself last time. It was only second in 2 classics and third in the Yorkshire Oaks. The racing post doing its fantastic job for the bookies again by not even telling people how good that horse was, which doesn't surprise me at all. You'll see that Shining Bright is an interesting one, I think. That was out of Bourbon Girl. Another one trained by Andre Fabre, which was listed here as being 5th in the Oaks of 1992, behind User Friendly, I mean, I can't believe that horse has only raced 4 times. I think, having a look at what I've just seen, I think the Racing Post is lying to us again, boys and girls. I mean, let's find out, shall we, if it is lying to us or not. Yeah, it actually raced 8 times and won once. So it never really made a mark at pattern level. So it's not lying to us to the extent it was with the 3rd dam, with Bourbon Girl. You know, but that's just a fine indicator of how useless the Racing Post is, really. Shining Bright, I mentioned that one because people look, that is the dam of Spanish Moon. You know, he's a very, very nice horse. Very good stallion. It's a stallion of a horse I was discussing with my friend last night, actually, Steve Allpress, El Fabiolo. Yeah, I didn't know that necessarily put the 2 and 2 together. And there's not much on out of the other dam there. I didn't check earlier. So Spanish Moon's on this line as well, out of the third, out of a half sister to the 2nd dam Apogee, and out of the triple group 1 place 3rd dam. You know, so it's a nice line. I think it could. I passed on this line for years, to be honest. I really did, because there's not a lot there. If you look at these, I found a few stallions, but at the time, I wasn't really looking at the pedigrees as thoroughly as I am these days. So I did miss a couple of years on this line when I first started. But now if I do see Apogee, I do know there is a fair chance that we've got a fair horse. You know, so it's interesting to see this horse, I think. You'll see that there's only really an Able directly on the line. There's a Belmont winner from 2023, Crusader, who is in the distance of it, but a lot of it, you see, on this section is quite old. It's an interesting line, though, very interesting line, because it's got horses like Dubai Millennium on it. Yeah, it's a very good horse, very good line to look for precocity on, I think. And you've seen that with horses like Enable and Dubai Millennium. When they are good, they are very, very good. So we're going to watch Throne Hall win its 2nd start over hurdles, which was in the beginning of November at Wetherby, when it won by 1.5 lengths. Let's have a look at that race now.
Here we go. They're off. This is the All Steels Trading introductory hurdle over 2 miles. They'll be jumping 9 flights. Matata takes them on to the first of those 9, with a freely going Fruit and Nut racing in 2nd. Already 4 lengths back to Throne Hall, who is in 3rd. And then in 4th, Cracker Nut, and On the Rouge dropped in at the back of the field.
I mean, you look how nicely Throne Hall has settled in comparison to some of the others.
With a clear advantage. On the Rouge is a faller. On the Rouge has fallen.
Benefits of a 17-run flat career there.
Quickly now on to the 2nd. Matata leads Fruit and Nut at Throne Hall, and Cracker Nut the last to land. Heading on now towards flight number 3, and it is Matata. Rolling along with plenty of enthusiasm and jumps well. And the 3 in behind all jump safely also. So they head on down towards the winning line with a circuit left to travel in this, the All Steels Trading introductory hurdle, our feature race of the day here at Wetherby. And Matata not exactly settling up ahead. Darryl Jacobs straining the reins here. But Matata has now poached a 6 or 7 length advantage around the turn. Ahead of Fruit and Nut in 2nd place. Throne Hall is in 3rd, and Cracker Nut the back marker of the 4. So Matata, who's won an Irish point-to-point and a hurdle race down at Fakenham, looking to extend his unbeaten run throughout a short career so far to 3 wins, and leads Fruit and Nut in 2nd place. Fruit and Nut has been off the track for 409 days. Throne Hall, who was a winner at Uttoxeter on his hurdling debut last time, will take that in 3rd, and Cracker Nut, the back marker of the 4. Cracker Nut, who scored at Market Raisin last time out, and what was his first start over hurdles. On to halfway, Matata continuing to lead the field. 2nd place is Fruit and Nut, and then Throne Hall and Cracker Nut. All safely across the 5th flight of hurdles. They've only got 3 more left to get across. They're going to be bypassing the first flight in the home straight. Matata, with a slightly reduced lead, is only 2 lengths ahead of Fruit and Nut, the black and red colours. The pink of Throne Hall, and then Crackanut in the black and white, the back marker of the quartet, as they gallop towards the left-handed turn, which will bring them out of the far straight and on towards home. And it is Matata continuing to lead under Daryl Jacob. Brian Hughes on Fruit and Nut, poised in second. Throne Hall and Gavin Sheehan in third. And Crackanut and Bridget Andrews, the back marker of the 4. So they're going to be waved around the third last flight of hurdles, so a long run now before they get to 2 out. Matata continuing to bowl along in front, but has come right back to the field and has gone keenly throughout. Fruit and Nut is now almost alongside, with back in third Throne Hall, and Crackanut very much in touch, the back marker of the quartet. Down they head towards the second last flight of hurdles, and it is Matata still apparently going quite strongly up at the head of affairs. To the inside is Fruit and Nut. Brian Hughes now rowing away. Throne Hall is trying to come with a late effort, and then Crackanut. Fruit and Nut was level with Matata at the second flight from home, and now Daryl Jacob gets to work on Matata. What's left? The horse went very keenly in the early part of the race, is still just ahead though. Matata from Fruit and Nut. Throne Hall joining in away to the left. They've crossed the final hurdle safely clear of Crackanut, and now it's Throne Hall the danger to Matata. Matata along the inside is pressed and passed by Throne Hall into the final 75 yards. Throne Hall getting on top under Gavin Sheehan and remains unbeaten over hurdles. Throne Hall beats Matata, Fruit and Nut and Crackanut.
I mean, what can you say about that race, people? To me, that looked an awful race. It wouldn't surprise me that if these horses in England, the UK hurdlers, be pounds behind the horses in Ireland. It really would. I mean, that was a good performance from the horse. But it's run to 121 on the day. You know, it's got to get to 140 at least, I think, to be a viable pattern race horse. But with the pedigree the way it has, you know, I can't see how people cannot follow this horse at this stage. The pedigree is there, 2 out of 2 over the jumps. And it's a sort of horse, like I said, similar to Staghorn. When it starts to race the proper horses, is it going to be found out? Time will tell, obviously. But for now, I'm going to suggest that people keep an eye on this horse, a well-bred horse. The sort of horse that if they campaigned it sensibly, I think. It's like an Imperial Cup horse. I know we've got it down as a novice hurdler. But if it was to, say, fall short of that, it'd be rated about 130 odd. 104, 36 maybe, 37. It could be a county hurdle type Imperial Cup horse. Will it be good enough to take rank in the top class novice hurdles? I'm not entirely sure. But one thing people cannot say about this horse, it is not well bred. It is a very well bred horse. And it's that sort of horse that people have to keep a look at until it gets beat, really, and then reassess it, which is exactly what we're going to do. But for now, thank you very much, everybody, for supporting the videos. I'm going to leave a little card up the top now to the playlist of the National Hunt horses so far. So if people have missed all the others, or this is the first time they've stumbled across our content, then they can see all the others. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We're going to leave it there and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everybody.